Okay, so welcome everybody, or welcome back to Watch the Obsession True Crime. And this evening we have a very special guest, Jay from Guilty of Crime. As many of you know, she is one of my favorite true crime creators. I just love Jay and her energy and her channel. So I'm going to be bringing her up very soon. And welcome to the crime crew who has come over from her channel to support Jay and myself over here on this channel. And Carol Johnson, thank you so much for the super chat. How are you doing? Nice to see you guys. So I'm not going to run through and say hello to everybody. I know I am running a little bit late. Thank you guys so much for your patience. It's just, one of those days it feels like it's never going to end and I'm never going to get to my favorite part of the day, which of course is always being with you guys on Watch the Obsession, whatever channel we're on, and talking about true crime. And it really, truly is. So thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much, moderators. Again, people who came over from the crime crew and people who are just stopping by, subscribers, longtime members, OGs, welcome. I love y'all. Come on in, everybody. Get comfortable. We ask that you participate in the conversation. We totally want to hear what it is that you think. We just ask that you are respectful to the victims, family members, which in this case, I will say is a little bit of a conundrum because obviously, well, did I say we're going to be talking about the Jenn Soto case? Because that's what we're talking about. And obviously, sweet Jenn Soto, just turned 13 years old, is the victim. And one of her family members clearly is her mother, Jennifer Soto. But if you are of the same opinion that Jay and I are both of, her mother sadly is guilty of crime and should be brought up on charges related to, well, we're going to talk about whether it's to just the treatment of her daughter while she was alive, or should she be brought up in charges related to the death of her daughter, even worse, right? So I'm just going to bring Jay up right away so we can get right into it because I've made you guys wait. And again, thank you so much for being here. So everybody, welcome Jay from Guilty of Crime. Hey, Jay, how are you doing, girl?
What's up, everybody? It's Friday night. We're here to party with Kelly.
Woo-hoo, party!
Yes, and I love Jenn Soto's guilty behavior. I love it.
Yeah, because there is really so much to talk about along those lines. And it's really amazing that so much information, came out about this case a while back. But as we're privy to little drips and drabs of more information, because so many people have FOIA requests out, so many people are wanting more information about this case or talking about this case, it's like we get the opportunity to learn even a little bit more, right?
Absolutely. And I love that we cross over into communities and share our information. And then, I love your take on it. So, hey, all good.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to ask you, and we'll get to it a little bit later, but I don't know if you ever did you ever watch the video that I made about Follow the Money, about Stefan Stearns?
I just saw that, and I was going to watch it next week with my crime crew on my channel.
Oh, so. Awesome. Because I am like dying to know what you think about that. I've been meaning to. I picked up my phone to text you like so many times, and then I had this thing. I always something right. Didn't have your number, so I was like, I want to know what Jay thinks about this so bad.
You'll hear it. I'm gonna react to it on my channel. So
okay,
I got
awesome,
you. You can
let me know when you do that because I will definitely be in chat. I want to see what you think about it because I really do believe is you're gonna. I mean, a little spoiler alert, but also not because I think a lot of people surmise this. I really, really, really do believe, and I think that there's evidence to show it. And I think I put a decent amount of evidence in that video to make a good case for the fact that Stefan Stearns was selling a lot of that horrible, wretched material probably through Telegram on the internet. And was Jenn Soto involved in that? Because in my opinion, and another thing that I talk about in that video is that I think that we tend to underestimate the importance of both Stefan and Jenn Soto's dependency on prescription medication when we're talking about this crime. I think that, it can render people who are already a little weak or in life to be completely useless at doing anything other than seeking that which they are trying to take. Yep, that's the potato.
Trigger warning.
And I think that was really a huge factor in the way that Maddie was treated in her sweet, precious, far, far too young life.
Absolutely. Yes. And I can't wait to hear that because you dive deep into these cases, like the minute details. So I'm sure that you're following the money. That's a big topic that we haven't really talked about on my channel. So I'm ready.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So wait for Jay to react to that next week on her channel. We'll see what she thinks about it. And then we'll maybe get together and talk about it sometime. But I want to talk about something. We'll bring up the love letter or whatever the hell you'd call that first. Okay. So I saw that you had covered this. It was like a little while ago. Plunder covered it, just a couple days ago on her channel. And Plunder, has been around for a long time, has a huge following for that reason. She started her channel during the Chris Watts case. I do know that. And she talked about that letter that was etched out. I'm going to show it in a minute. I'm actually going to play a little clip of Jay reading it. So you're going to hear the letter in just a second. It was etched out on, well, it was more than etched out really, because as you talked about in your live stream, it was in this like nice, like almost like childlike, like somebody so accurately commented on your channel, like when you're in third grade and you're asked to write your rough draft of something and you use your best penmanship, right? That's almost what it looked like. And Plunder's video that came out the other day disclosed the fact that yellow lawyer paper that this letter was written on was given to Stefan Stearns by his attorney. He asked for a few pieces of paper. She gave him a few pieces of paper. She admitted to that. A guard saw it, tucked in his Bible, asked the person in charge, the sergeant, is this person allowed to have this yellow paper? They said, I don't know. And so, he read the note and said, hey, well, you better read this. And let me bring into the stream a little clip from Jay's channel, Guilty of Crime, where she actually is going to read to us what the letter says. And get ready to gag, because you probably will.
We did. And yet, quickly before we get started, anybody that's trolling on Kelly's channel, please don't, because we're gonna probably troll you right out. Now, we can't control the chat, but it's not very becoming. So there's a couple of trolls from the what's the page that I said is that I don't follow. Right. That we don't follow anymore. They're on here. There's one particular person I'm not going to call out. Yeah, hi trolls. Now, you're not a troll. You used to be a cool person on my chat, and you went to the dark side. So come on, let's be cool. We're on
right.
Kelly's channel.
I mean, it's amazing how
let's not do that.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate it. And as you know, our moderators here are freaking amazing. They will sniff them out and they will get rid of them. It's amazing how people can shift so quickly from like cool person status to troll status. And that's just like too bad for you, man. Too bad.
You have no idea who I am. So get out of here if you don't like it.
Yeah, right. And we support Jay on this channel. So if you are dissing Jay, you have no business being here. None at all. And it's not wanted. Not allowed. Not welcome. Okay. So now we're not going to give the trolls another second of our time because they suck. So listen to Jay on her channel. And again, her channel is Guilty of Crime. If you haven't yet, go check it out.
The letter indicates to me that Stefan Stearns took Maddie's life. Now, when I say he took Maddie's life and then wrote this after to her as a love letter or a goodbye, and he put it somewhere in the house, they found it. I don't think it was in her backpack, and I don't think it was in her backpack because it happened after he already dumped her stuff, in my opinion. All right, now.
So Jay, you were already like totally onto the fact that this was written in Stefan Stearns' penmanship, and people had speculated, oh, maybe this was from Maddie's backpack. And in fact, in regards to this letter, I feel like I had heard that more than people believing it was Stefan Stearns' letter. Upon first reading it, I was like, oh, ain't no doubt that disgusting man wrote this, right?
Absolutely. People were saying that it was inside the bag and it was inside a plastic, so there was paint on it. And I was like, no. So anyway, we didn't know it was in his jail cell. Now we do. It was in a Bible in his jail cell, in fact. Yes.
Tucked into a Bible. And I've got to say, when I watched Plunder's video about this, and we know that Plunder is, she is a devout Christian, and I love that about her. I love that she's a very, she's in line with her morals and ethics, and I just love that about her. I feel like she was giving a little too much weight to the possibility of Stefan Stearns tucking this in his Bible for some spiritual or religious reason.
Me too.
I think he just tucked it in there because he didn't want it to be found.
I do too. I think most people don't mess with you when you put the Bible in front of you and hide. But so
exactly, I agree. All right, so let's hear you read this disgusting letter.
There's a lot of talk about how much Stefan Stearns loved her, how much he cared about her. Jenn was consoling him. Jenn was actually consoling him. He was crying. I don't know if it was fake crying, but he really had feelings for what he thought about Maddie. All right. He says, always, your hair was like honey. Ugh. So that's a past tense. Your hair was like honey with eyes stormy blue, gone far too soon. That's why I don't think this was in the backpack. I don't know how it was talking about her being gone, but then him putting in the backpack. I will always miss you. Again, her being gone. Your smile
Oh,
was
hold
a
up, Jay.
treasure
Just a
past
second. I'll
tense.
be right back.
Your laughter filled the room.
You're good. Internet problems. What's up, honey bun? How you doing? Everybody, Sherry, Amanda K. Jen wasn't able to name off more than a couple of things. Jen. Not sure what happened with Kelly, but we're here. I just got your email a bit ago, and everybody else, what's up? And yeah, Chick Tracy. Oh, I can't wait to be able to talk about this. I can't wait to be able to talk about this Chick Tracy. It's yeah, definitely admitting his guilt, but I feel like he's coming for Stefan or coming for Jenn Soto. I feel like he's gonna say, I really loved her. Look what Jen did. So are we going right now? Thank you, Lucky. I appreciate that. Love to Lucky. Happy Friday, everybody. I don't know what happened with Kelly. Are we still rolling? There you go, Rose. Let me see what this looks like here. Okay. We lose connection. Okay, so I guess I'm still talking to y'all. I don't know what happened here, but let's get into this while we're waiting, I guess.
I'm back. I'm so sorry.
Okay,
I don't know
there
why
you
that
are.
happens.
You're
I
good.
have new.
Thank you. Yeah, she's having before that she had some issues, and if you guys we're on her channel. You have bunnies. Did the bunnies eat the plugs, Kelly? The cords?
You know what? One of them peed on my surge protector power strip. Yep. And it was getting ready for this. I was looking at videos and everything. I was like preparing way ahead of time, and all of a sudden my TV turns off. I was watching the videos on my TV because it's nice and big and it's just kind of luxurious to watch that way. And I hear like and I was like, mother effer. I was like, oh my God.
Love of bunnies.
I hope I didn't fry a bunny, but she was fine.
For the love of bunnies, people. Kelly loves bunnies, so we can't even falter. The bunnies peed, yeah.
I do. I love bunnies. So, oh my gosh. Okay, so we didn't get to hear you read this whole thing, right? So I'm going to bring that back in again so we can hear the rest of it, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, we want to talk about that for sure.
Yeah, we definitely want to talk about it. And again, it's disgusting. Oh, he's so gross. He's so I just don't we'll talk about it. He's just so vile. That's a fact. All right.
Because it happened after he already dumped her stuff, in my opinion. All right. Now, not only that, but there's a lot of talk about how much Stefan Stearns loved her, how much he cared about her. Jen was consoling him. Jen was actually consoling him. He was crying. I don't know if it was fake crying, but he really had feelings for what he thought about Maddie. All right. He says, always, your hair was like honey. So that's a past tense. Your hair was like honey with eyes stormy blue, gone far too soon. That's why I don't think this was in the backpack. I don't know how it was talking about her being gone, but then him putting in the backpack. I will always miss you. Again, her being gone. Your smile was a treasure, past tense. Your laughter filled the room. This world is not the same. I will always miss you. Again, she's gone. I loved you so much. I would have died for you with no end to my tears. I will always miss you. Again, gone, missing you, not in the world anymore. As I held you in my arms, my heart died with you. Rest in peace, sweetheart. I will always miss you.
Okay, so yikes. Now, I know you do a really good analysis on your channel of this. What really got me, and which I think is probably the thing that law enforcement is looking at, is particularly that last stanza, is I held you in my arms, my heart died with you. So what do you think about that, Jay?
I have so much to think about that, but really, yeah, good point picking that out. And as soon as I heard that, I'm thinking Stefan Stearns is coming for Jenn Soto. His side of the story. He told them on the call with the parents. He said, "I'm not going to talk." My lawyer said, "Not until trial." So I can see trial coming and him saying, "Hey, I was in love with her. I know you got what the image is. It was wrong. I was in love with her, but Jenn did this, and I helped clean up."
Yeah.
I feel that coming, and I've predicted a lot in this case. I'm not trying
Yeah.
to, but we've gotten a lot of information before it's come out. So that's my take on it. I do think he was in love with her in a sick way that a chomo could be, and
Yeah.
I feel like that's coming.
I feel like that is coming too. And, I wonder, some of the things that like the parents pointed out. Well, actually, here, let's listen to a little bit of what Stefan Stern's parents, Chris and Jenn, had to say.
Yes.
When I'm going to play just a tiny little bit of their interview when they were on Hidden True Crime, but then also a tiny little bit of their interview from July 2024, just this past July. And in both cases, at very different times. And we know they had been doing so from the start. They were definitely implying that Jenn Soto had guilt in the ultimate crime here, which of course is the death of super sweet, beautiful, wonderful, underappreciated, not seen or loved nearly enough, Madeline Soto. So this is actually from my Stefan Stearns Exposed, a deep dive into his finances. It's from that video, but we're just going to listen to those little video excerpts. Forgive me, I might just have to search around a little to find the right spots, but we'll get them.
Big question.
Okay, no, we're here.
I trust you.
The big question.
Okay.
Big question. The really big question out there. All of that stuff on the computer, all of that stuff on his phone, all of the money that was coming in by the handfuls, and the way they were spending it. Where did it come from? And could she, obviously she also participated in spending the money. So do you think she was at all culpable?
Very suspicious that there was some sort of enterprise going on. And of course, police won't tell us anything about that. That was one conversation or question I had with them. And it almost sounded like they acknowledged Stefan and eliminated Jenn, but something definitely was going on, and I haven't been able to figure that out. But I feel there's something else out there.
Interesting. Okay, so what do you think about that? What do you think about the idea that the parents here are clearly implicating the fact that there was, some criminal enterprise happening? And by that, I think that we can all agree what we mean by that is the sale of these horrible images of Maddie. Look at that freaking creep. On some, like dark alley, like under, like, or not even at the time. And I go into this in great detail in this video. At the time when Stefan Stearns was on Telegram, and he was on Telegram that night, just before Jenn Soto sent Maddie up to bed with this creep. He was on Telegram. At that time, the president of Telegram had not yet been arrested. Telegram had not gone down. That happened shortly after. And at that time, it was very easy for people on Telegram to transmit such illegal material, such as illicit drugs or this kind of chomo
CSAM.
Yeah.
Yes,
thank you. Sometimes I get my acronyms confused. Thank you, YouTube, for not letting us talk like grown-ass adults. Appreciate that.
Right? No kidding. No, I mean, this is, I've loved hearing the parents talk, because every time they give little bits and pieces of things, and that's the only part I haven't been able to delve into yet is the money part, which I'm going to react to your video in that because you dive deep. However, yes, I do think absolutely they're given a clue of this. They're calling it out. 35,000 images, and him being on a lot of them, parts of his body. You have to show parts of yourself.
35,000 images.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Not again. Keep talking, girl. Keep talking. I love you. Thank you.
11:49. Yeah, that night when Maddie, and it was at night right before it was going to be the next day. Last time he logged on, that gives us a clue of when I think Maddie's life was taken and things started to shift. He was moving her body around, maybe redressing her, whatever it was. I do absolutely believe, and I haven't really talked about this, but I do believe for sure he was selling and trading CSAM. But the selling part is a big thing because selling is how I think he funded like his toys, his, little hobbies, maybe even sometimes helping Jenn with things. And maybe Jenn, and I'm gonna say maybe until I hear Kelly's deep dive, maybe Jenn was getting money from that too, and she knew about it. That's why she was letting Stefan have access to her daughter. So that's never off the table. And if that's the case, everybody, then Jenn's not only guilty of sending her daughter to bed with that man and letting that happen, but also exploiting her daughter, selling the pictures. And I believe it's not off the table that she did actually commit the crime of asphyxiation, and possibly Stefan helped her to cover it up and move the body that day. It's not far off, I don't think. So, yeah, that the parents give a lot of insight about as well in that interview about Maddie. It being weird because Maddie was sleeping with Jenn and Stefan, and the parents thought it was really kind of odd for her to be that age still needing to sleep with someone. So they give a lot of clues about a lot of different things. So I'm excited to get deeper into the financial part of it, because absolutely, Kelly, it's just right there in front of us.
Yeah, I think it is right there in front of us. And I mean, we know that both of them had absolutely no way of making a decent income. I mean, Stefan Stearns was a perpetually unemployed, just lazy bastard. We all know that about him. And Jenn Soto's, reliance on disability and her inability to work was really like an overarching theme of her life. In fact, I want to know what you think about this as well. You know that the talking about writings out of a notebook, that other writing out of a notebook where, oh gosh, I don't know if you happen to have right at the tip of your fingers. I'm sure I could find it pretty quick. But
I'm sure I do. Which
where,
one?
Where the one where it talks about, due to me being abused, I am not able to. Do you,
Yep.
do you
Yep.
happen to
We
have that
analyze
right?
that. We
Oh, did
analyzed
you?
it. Yeah, we
I think
analyzed
that's
it on
Jenn
my
Stearns.
channel.
I think that's Jenn Stearns rehearsing what she's going to say to the disability office people.
Absolutely. Jenn Soto. I do that
Oh,
too.
I'm
You
sorry,
said
Jenn
Jenn
Soto.
Stearns.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
Jenn Soto. I believe that too. We actually analyzed the handwriting on both the letter and that, and we do
Oh,
believe that that was Jenn Soto, and she
yes.
was right near the pictures of the essay that was happening, of a picture of a little girl giving a blowjob. Hopefully I can say that, YouTube.
Yeah.
Given a BJ, the pictures of a little girl being abused, right in that same area with the same notebooks and the same pencil and the same. It just
Oh,
drives me nuts. It drives me
yeah.
crazy. I did a video about that too. Why didn't Jenn Soto look at her daughter's and Stefan's phone? You wouldn't have
Right.
missed it, but I think she did. I think she did. Absolutely. I don't think that there's a possibility that she wouldn't have.
Right. Or, that
So
picture that, Maddie drew in her math notebook of the female with her legs spread and the male part
there's
and
that
like
one too.
that was in her academic notebook. How did nobody see that?
Yeah, and nobody should have been Jenn, because Jenn, it was the mother for years letting her get abused. So I just don't
Yeah.
believe it, Kelly. I don't
Yeah.
believe it at all.
No, I don't either. I don't buy it either. Now let's just listen to a little more of what the parents have to say here in this video. And again, I just have to find it real quick. And that's,
Trigger warning.
you'll listen to that all when you do the review of it. That's Stefan Stearns' childhood friend there.
You're good. I'm down for whatever.
Let's see. Okay, here
Can I
we go.
smoke my puffer?
Oh yeah, absolutely you can. I am
Okay.
too. I'm just not on camera tonight because I look a hot mess.
Kelly put me on blast, y'all, so I'm gonna smoke my puffer.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
All right, thank you.
All right, let's see.
Pretty bird. Yep.
Yeah. I'm just
I
gonna
see
bring this
their
part into the
comments.
stream here to listen to this here, and hopefully
You're good.
I
just
don't know
filling up
why
space.
it is that my screen cuts out. I have all like good equipment. I just upgraded my internet connection. I have absolutely no idea what it is. I feel like it might have to be StreamYard, but like it doesn't happen to you, so I don't know why it is.
It happens sometimes.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah,
Do you know why?
it was happening the other
why?
day. StreamYard sometimes gets overloaded in YouTube.
Oh, do you think maybe it's like the time I do it or something?
Yep, I do.
Maybe that's
I
it.
think
Okay.
I think there's a huge overload.
Okay, that might be it. Maybe I'll have to change the time because I have literally upgraded every single piece of equipment I have. I've upgraded my everything that has to do with streaming because I feel like a schmuck. Like I don't care enough about my channel to purchase the best to stream, but that's not the case. So that's interesting to know.
No,
Right here,
that happened to me the other night. Yeah, it cut out on everybody. All right, go for it,
Was it
girl.
later in the evening than you usually go on? Do you know?
No, it actually was like around 4:00, 4:30, but it happens to me sometimes.
Does it? Okay.
You should do a test. Oh, wait, tonight's a full moon though, so hey.
Oh yeah, we don't test anything on a full moon. Yeah, crazy, like crazy variable.
I was like, dude, what happened? And then found out he got his Aderall dosage boosted, and he just wasn't eating, and I didn't know if he was abusing it. I know there was days he would take it, days he wouldn't take it. You know, he would call off work some days. He was telling me, you know, from Disney. So I don't know if he was up all night, up all day, and then missing work, or if he chose to call out of work because he wanted to be with Aderall.
Okay, so as a behavioral therapist and working with young people, several of them, and many of them throughout the years for certain, who take Aderall, I do know that, you know, doctors, especially for an adult, are not going to be prescribing a high enough dose. In fact, they can only legally prescribe such a high dose because it's a highly controlled substance, you know, that's going to make somebody lose weight drastically like that. Now, also, you know, his friend Frank here is saying, you know, I don't know if he was abusing it, indicating to me that he believes he was abusing it. Also, the behavior that he is explaining here is, and I'm just speculating, but I feel pretty certain about it, is the behavior of an addict. So if he was addicted to this drug and he wasn't getting enough from his doctor to fulfill his addicted needs, then he was buying it off of the black market, and it is expensive. Funding an addiction to that substance to the degree that I believe he was addicted would be very, very expensive. We're talking thousands of dollars a month easily. So there's another place I speculate Stefan Stearns was spending a lot of money, but he did not have any coming in.
I want to go back to the medication that Stefan. So Stefan on Saturday asked you if you had any medicine to calm his anxiety.
Right.
Did he have prescription medication that just wasn't filled, or?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he didn't have any medicine to take to Kissimmee?
No, not that we're aware of. And one of the things I was pressing hard with Stefan when he left Disney, I said, talk to Human Resources to get your insurance coverage after you leave, because you need it for prescriptions. And so up until 2 weeks ago, I'm assuming he had enough medication to get him through, but he needed some medication. So we're trying to get him back on insurance, which I did. And then there was a waiting period of a few days that we were supposed to call in and then arrange to get his prescription filled. He contacted the doctor, supposedly, because I told him to, and there would have been a prescription waiting for him, but it never got filled.
Okay, so this whole story here is very suspicious. I mean, Stefan Stearns asking his dad to see if he has anti-anxiety medication, which he could have been addicted to. Benzodiazepines, highly addictive. And then what he's describing here with his lapse of insurance, there was a waiting period. There was supposed to be medication waiting for him, but there really wasn't. This is all very suspicious, and in my professional opinion, is a sign of somebody addicted to prescription medications playing those games. Is this a missing piece of the puzzle? Did he go back to Jenn's place in Kissimmee because he knew that there he would find Aderall? Guys, Maddie was taking that. Hydroxyzine. Although it's not a benzodiazepine, it is a very powerful antihistamine and anti-anxiety medication. Stefan Stearns could have been so desperate for his fix of what he needed because he was addicted to it. He was going to go there, take Maddie's medication. Could that be the motivation for everything? I don't know about that, but I mean, people get desperate when they're addicted to drugs and they do not have them. This is a very serious consideration that's been largely overlooked. Okay, now I have to reboot, so I'm going to let you respond and I'm listening to it. Oh, wait, not just yet.
When did he start taking prescription medication? Do you remember?
He started taking Aderall when he was a child. I mean,
they were all taking.
He has a TBI, and So he was on an IEP through school, individual education
so much
program.
to
He went
say.
to special classes.
Good.
He was hit by a truck when he was 8, hit in the back of the head with the bumper, run over his torso, and then the guy heard everybody screaming, put the car drive and drove back over him, got him in the front of the head. And then, so he.
Well, how long has he been seeing the psychiatrist, psychologist?
Counselor there?
Yeah, counselor.
About 4 years.
So she was prescribing medications for him at least 4 or 5 years ago, whenever he started going to counseling.
So when you last saw him on Saturday and he's having this episode, the next time you see him is Tuesday night, going into Wednesday?
Wednesday morning, 2:15.
Early in the morning.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Change in his demeanor, I'm assuming, was different?
Just very stoic, no emotions. Again, I've attributed to maybe medication he's taking and the fact that.
Where would he get that medication? From Jen, if he was going to take it?
Yeah, that Jen said, "Oh, don't worry about it. I have some meds here he could use."
And then the fact that we're now looking at early Wednesday morning, now going back to 5 o'clock. Well, actually, even sooner than that, since he knew the two events. So from that Monday afternoon or sometime Monday all the way to Wednesday early morning, I don't know how much sleep he's had. I know he's been under a lot of pressure, obviously, from questioning and interviews and what have you. So I didn't expect to see much of him, much other than just being somewhat stoic, kind of zombie, out of it.
Okay, I'm going to reboot.
I'm going to have to read you the rest of what Stefan.
Okay. All right, y'all. So, yeah, I see what you guys got going in chat. While she reboots, we can talk about this. So, I mean, we're all talking about meds right now, and I have so much to say about that. Someone asked what age Stefan got hit in the head. It was at age 8. His dad was just saying that. So, what I'm going to say, first of all, is I think all 3 of them in that household were taking similar, if not the same, prescriptions and drugs. That's the number one thing. Number 2, Jen held a lot of those cards because she had 2 of the prescriptions. 2 of the major prescriptions were by her, under her doctor, and by Maddie, under her doctor. So now Stefan comes along and gets what he can for himself, but he runs out and they're mixing and sharing pills and taking them and buying other pills. Yeah, his parents are liars. I don't believe them, but they do give tidbits of information. They leak a little bit here and there, okay? So another thing that I absolutely believe with all my heart, and we have not seen, I don't know if we're going to ever see it, but we might hear third party. Now, we weren't supposed to know about Maddie's COD, right? We weren't supposed to know about Maddie's cause of death. We also aren't supposed to know about her toxicology, but I think it's going to come out that night. They overdid her medication. Stefan Stearns gave her twice the amount and maybe even more because we don't know toxicology yet. So when somebody gets twice the amount, their heart slows down. Yeah. It's not that far off to be able to asphyxiate them at the same time. So I think it's multiple things happening. Drugs going between all 3 of them in that house. Overtaking, sharing, overtaking, buying. And Kelly, you know what? I didn't even tell you. I don't know if you saw my post, but scam artist Jenn Soto. Did you see that thing that on Reddit?
I don't think so.
She scammed COVID money.
She did? What?
Yes, she scammed COVID money.
Oh my God. I've got to check that out. You're good, girl.
I have it on my page. She scanned COVID money. She started an LLC called Jennifer Soto LLC, took the money and then closed it. I have the paperwork right here.
Oh my God. Because, I have several friends that benefited. They're small business owners, legitimate small businesses. If it weren't for those funds, their businesses would have gone under. It was their life's work. People really needed that, but it was very easy to scam.
She took it and she said LLC never took off and she closed it. Now, we all know damn well Jenn Soto didn't have an LLC, nor was she working. Right. So the paperwork says it all. That's one more scam and shows you that she's the puppet master in that house. She was calling the shots.
I agree because I mean, they lived a decent lifestyle. I mean, I know that her father owned the condos that they lived in, but it was a nice home. It wasn't like the home that you'd see, for a lot of children that were treated as horribly as poor sweet Maddie, they'd be living in crap holes with rodents.
Squalor.
Yeah, squalor, exactly. And that is not how they were living. As far as material things go, they were living a decent life. Hey, Dr. Vana, so great to see you. And so she obviously had some know-how. That little potato knew how to work the system, clearly, because she was getting her money somewhere. There she is. And it wasn't through her work ethic, right? We know that much.
No, it wasn't, but it was through training and knowing what to do. I mean, she was a concierge. She also was an assistant teacher or a substitute teacher. So she was trained to see child abuse and many other things.
You know what? And I switched careers when I went into, I became a special educator, then a behavioral therapist, working with a lot of children in special education, but not all. But when I was deciding if I wanted to do that, it was a big life change for me. I was in my late 30s. I was deciding, do I want to go back to school to get another freaking master's degree, spend all that money? So in the meantime, while I was trying to figure it out, I figured it was wise to do some substitute teaching, to be in that environment, see if I wanted to do it. And, it kind of sucked because the pay was terrible, but whatever, I had to do it. I knew it was a huge decision. So anyway, being somebody who was a substitute teacher, first of all, I know that you go through that mandated reporter. You go through it not once, but twice a year. You know exactly what to look for. You know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. I have a lot of issues with mandated reporting in this case, but my primary issue, of course, has to do with Jenn Soto, and they are very adept in those trainings nationwide at teaching you what to look for to identify signs of abuse. Anybody who has been through that training should consider themselves an expert in that area. So good for you. Now just carry out your duties and report it when you see it. But you certainly don't let it happen right under your nose in your home and do nothing about it.
I think she was using Maddie to keep Stefan around. You can't help but laugh at the potato, right?
I know.
Someone said Potato LLC. That's what she should have called it, because it was just a farce. And it's not easy to get that funding either, by the way. I applied for funding for my engineering company, and it wasn't easy at all. It was a lot of paperwork. So people don't give her enough credit. She's a scammer and a grifter.
Right. Yeah,
and an
she can do the work when she knows when there's some dollar bills at the end of it.
Dollar bills, yeah.
Exactly.
She was playing daddy. She played her daddy too. Trust me.
Oh, I'm sure. I know.
Yeah.
And we're, all of a sudden he's not around. That again, I heard on Plunder the other day. It was that older couple, and the interview had been out for a while, but a lot of people didn't pay much attention to it. And they talked about never really seeing Jenn, but they saw Maddie with the grandfather. Then all of a sudden the grandfather wasn't around. And I wonder what happened with that. Anyway, did he just get so sick of Jenn's shit that he just couldn't deal anymore? Do you know anything about that?
I do. I had an interview with a roommate that lived there with Juan, and Juan's the one that let her move in. That's how she knew Jenn the potato. And Juan gave her he charged her $350 a month for rent to help her get on her feet and to help pay. Now, when Jenn was there with Juan, she also started dating Stefan at that time, and Juan was like, ugh, this guy's here. He wanted to move on. He ended up going to Puerto Rico and then coming back. But he didn't tell her to rent out room number 1, room number 2. He just said, hey, you got to take on the payment. And she started renting out rooms. So Juan just was like, Stefan's around. You got your kid. You got your stuff going on. I'm going to head out, but you got to, take care of the place.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So she just was using and abusing her daddy and everybody else. Anybody that would come into her, and I think what, she and Stefan Stearns had in common is they both had end goals that were not conventional. They wanted to get to whatever their individual personalized, warped end goal was, doing the least amount of work possible. And they saw each other as stepping stones towards those goals. And I think that's why they were so simpatico for so long,
Absolutely. And Stearns had his way with Maddie. He got complete access to her, and Jenn gave it to him. He can go see other girls if he wanted. She didn't have to give up anything, but she did want to have a companion, an adult companion, and a babysitter around. So that's what I truly believe, and I hope that we do see her at some point get arrested.
Yeah, I sure do as well. Now, I want to take a little trip back together and see what y'all have to say about this, and especially you, Jay, to that it wasn't the very first time we saw Jenn on camera, because the first time we saw her on camera was that body cam situation. But the first time she went on camera to do an interview, back to that very first Fox interview, where Chris Stearns had said in one of his interviews that he had seen, and this is the one where Stefan is looming all super creepy like in the back, had he seen this interview on Fox, then he would not have been so apt to help Stefan out the way that he did. But he said he had not seen it because it comes off as really super creepy to everyone. So are you down with checking that one out?
Of course.
All
I'm
right.
here for your perspective.
Awesome. Let's take a watch, because this is just and let me know if at any point you want me to pause it. And yeah, I closed all my other windows, so I am really hoping that we will just be good here. All right, come on, StreamYard, just work for me for once, for F's sake.
You got it.
Hold it. Let me just close out anything that does not need to be opened. All right, let's try it out. Okay. All right, poor Maddie. All right, here we go.
I'll rest in peace.
In a recent interview with Deb and Chris Stearns, Stefan Stearns' parents on Hidden True Crime, Stearns said he would have handled dealing with Stefan and Jenn much differently, meaning he wouldn't have gone to help them to get them a hotel room if he had seen the Fox interview that happened on that Tuesday before, which was the day after Maddie went missing. He says if he had seen that, he would have done things much differently. Well, here is the video interview that he was referring to. Leave a comment below and let us know what you think about this interview.
Jenn, go ahead and tell us what's going on with Maddie.
Well, Monday morning, we took her to school. We dropped her off close to school, across the street from a church, which is it's right next to the school. She crossed the street and walked to school, what we thought walked to school. My boyfriend who drove her to school drove away at that point.
My boyfriend
was seen on video footage that she hung out in the parking lot of the church for a few minutes and then got up and walked towards the school. But she never made it that walk and that was around 9 a.m. when she got up. She never made it to school after that. It's right next to the school. I don't know why she didn't make it. I don't know if something happened on her walk along the way or if she got taken, but she never made it.
Never made it.
And that was the last anyone's seen of her or heard from her?
Yes. I went to pick her up after school, and she wasn't there. So I started driving around, maybe thinking she took a walk. Maybe she decided to walk to my mom's office, which is pretty close to the school as well. Drove around and I didn't see anything. I drove back to the school. The school was closed. I emailed one of her teachers. They confirmed that she was absent all day. At that point is when I called 911 because I realized something was truly wrong.
Have you heard from any of her friends? Has she been active on any social media?
She hasn't been active on social media. None of her chats, none of her games. We did contact all her friends. None of them had seen her Monday or heard from her. There's no update.
And I have to ask this, and I know I hate doing it, but is she the type that would run away? Has this happened in the past or anything? Has she ever threatened to run away?
Never. She's never ever mentioned anything like this before, and she's not the type to want to do this. She did accidentally leave her phone on Monday, which is kind of normal for her. She's got ADHD and very forgetful. So she left her phone at home, so there's no way to trace her. They tried tracing her school laptop, but that's off, so it's not pinging to anything.
Stefan threw it away.
Jen, what is your fear? I know you mentioned she's on games and stuff. Do you think she could have met somebody and tried to meet up with them?
She's open to us. She's open with us about, if she's got a crush with anyone, and she told us she had a crush on someone at school. And I looked at her messages. Nothing was weird. I looked at all of her messages, all of her deleted messages. Nothing seemed weird. It didn't seem like she was talking to anyone. So I don't feel like that's the case. I feel like she may have been taken, because this is not like her at all to just disappear and not let us know where she's going or who she's with. Yeah.
What are you getting from law enforcement? I mean, are they actively searching for her? I mean, what happens now? I mean, especially that she doesn't have her phone with her.
So as far as I know, they're conducting a search around the school. Behind the school, there's a Shingle Creek. There's a wooded path area that you could walk.
There it is.
Hiking path.
Yeah.
They are going back there with their canine dogs. They've taken a piece of her clothing to see if they can trace her scent.
Trace her scent. That's
right.
Looking for a body.
Their own vehicles. I'm not sure what type of vehicles,
but
they're going into the woods to search for her. But I don't feel like that's going to find anything right now. We've had people all day on that trail sending us photos to see if anything there looks familiar and like her personal belongings, and nothing is hers. So I'm not sure where to go from here. I'm just contacting the news to get the word out, to get some help, because I'm desperate. I'm a wreck right now.
Yeah, you look it.
So you think that she's been taken against her will?
I do think so, yes.
As a mom, what's your mother's intuition telling you right now?
She doesn't have any.
Yeah, right.
I'm trying to hope for the best, but I'm scared for her. I want her to be okay, and I want her to be safe. I don't want her to come back harmed.
I don't want her to come back home.
I just want her back.
Yep.
Whatever that means. I just want her back.
How do you say whatever that means?
Yeah, I know.
What's her name?
Are you
He
getting
never says her
any
name.
updates from law enforcement? I mean, yes, they're searching that small area, but have they gotten any hits on any scent or anything like that?
They haven't let me know anything. They haven't updated me since I spoke to them this morning.
Yeah.
I've contacted them to get some information or to give them some leads, but I've heard nothing back.
And Jen, there's no way that she, just being a teenager, was like, maybe had a fight with you or an argument with you and was like, you know what, I'm going to go hang out at so-and-so's house and teach her a lesson. Could that be a scenario?
I don't believe so. We actually haven't gotten into a fight in like a few weeks, or arguments or anything like that. If anything, on Sunday, she celebrated her 13th birthday with my entire family, and she had the best day. She was so happy. She showed us all her gifts. She's just a happy girl, and
she didn't see her gifts.
She showed it on Sunday night when she went to bed. She was so happy. So, she had the best day.
I don't think so.
She
was mad.
She
was actually mad.
There was no moment in that evening from when she got home from the party that she had her phone or had the laptop. She went straight to getting ready and went to bed. So I know she didn't have any conversations with anyone. She didn't make plans with anyone. I didn't see any of that.
So she's spent the whole Sunday celebrating her 13th birthday. Was her 13th birthday on that Sunday, or that was just like the time you guys were celebrating?
That was the time we were celebrating. Her birthday was on Thursday, the 22nd. She just turned 13.
But that's just so heartbreaking to be celebrating her 13th birthday, and then the very next day, that's gone. The last you've seen of her.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you go now? Are you gonna go out there and search or look, or what is your? Are you sticking by the phone? Or what are you doing?
I'm staying at home, staying by the phone, hoping she just appears.
What is it? A landline?
I know my entire family's out looking. They've all spread a bunch of flyers. They've gone. I've had people contact me that they've gone to the international airport to spread flyers, to Amtrak, to Greyhound, just any way that if someone's taken her and they're trying to take her, just to show her face, just to make sure, she's not being taken against her will.
And you mentioned ADHD. Was there anything else maybe mentally going on, or that you knew of?
She does suffer from anxiety, and once upon a time she was diagnosed with autism. We had her what's the word?
She's such a
brain, maybe.
Reevaluated.
Okay.
We had to be evaluated a few months ago, actually, and they told us no, she didn't have autism, but she did have some autistic traits. She did have ADHD, some autistic traits, but not autism. So I'm not sure to look at that because one doctor said she did, and one doctor saying she doesn't, and I don't know. She's just in the middle.
She did have it
because she does have some tendencies, but socially she's pretty great. So I'm not sure.
And with the video that you were able to see whenever your boy.
Oh, you're good. Okay, hold on. I'll just do your thing. Okay, y'all, you guys have watched this on my channel a bunch of times. I'm sure we've all watched it. And I mean, I'm reading the comments, and as we go, we're just catching things over and over, right? Now, I have a fun fact. If you didn't hear this on my channel, this news person, I don't know her name, and I should, because to me, she's a hero. See something, say something.
Okay.
She actually reported back to the officers, back to the detectives that were investigating this case, that Jenn seemed suspicious AF along with Stefan. She also reported that she was using past tense, which she did. She used past tense right now. I tried to call it out during it and just kind of give you guys a little bit of insight, but Madeline did have ADHD. And she actually didn't even say Madeline. What am I saying? She didn't use her name. Didn't search for her, stayed at home by the phone because we have landlines still. Anyhow, fun fact.
Stayed at home by the phone, like she can't take her phone with her
wherever she goes. And she went to sleep. She slept that night, took her meds, went to sleep just fine. That reporter knew. That reporter actually did say something. So
she sure did. Oh, you're saying it was a reporter who? Yes, the reporter.
The reporter.
Yeah.
She reported that something was wrong.
Yeah,
I'm saying. See something, say something, y'all.
That's right. Well, if you see something, say something. Absolutely. It's so critical. It's how we protect our youth, how we protect the most vulnerable among us. Yes, she was guilty of crime. Absolutely. And, there was just so many great comments along the way, and you picked out so many things like using the past tense and, with this whole thing, this kind of like distraction method she uses. Oh, they said she has autism, but then they said she doesn't. That's not how autism diagnosis goes down. I am part of diagnosing autistic people with autism on all various levels all the time, and that is not how it goes down. It rings so dishonest to me. I can't even. It makes my head explode every single time. The way that she didn't even, shed a tear like Duchess. Can't remember the Duchess of Camelot said. Even when the reporter mentions the search dogs. If you think of like some other interviews with people who actually are missing their children, if you mention something like search dogs looking for a body, oh my God, they break the fuck down because like the thought is overwhelming.
Absolutely. Nothing her, just right by her body, dog searching, victim blaming, at its finest. And then scripting. That was scripted to the T. She used that over and over in her interviews, talking with the police, just same verbiage. Stefan, you could tell he was in the background on edge. And when she mentioned having a crush, he sat there and like shifted his knuckles. I mean, it really truly just.
Now, how much do you think that the crush played a part in what happened? Do you think that played a part at all?
I think it did.
I think so.
I think he absolutely was. And when he did the interview with the cops, it almost stopped the interview after they started talking about crushes. And I said, crush on. Now, the cops knew already at that time that he had tons of CSAM in his phone and he was abusing Maddie. However, that changed his demeanor a lot. And I do think that he was in love with her in his sick way. Now, some people are like, he can't be in love with her. Yes. I watch lots of hearings with chomos, and they do think they're in love with the kids. Yes, they could be in love with the 3-year-old in their mind. They absolutely do.
They do.
I think jealousy was a huge part in this between Jenn and Stefan. It could have been a 3-way thing. It could have, whatever it was, jealousy was huge.
Yeah, no, I absolutely think it was too. I think it was too. Now, what do you think about him just like lurking there in the background? Was he just doing that because do you think he wanted to hop in and say something, or do you think he was kind of warning her? Go ahead.
He wanted to have his presence known. But sorry to cut in. I'm just getting heated at this.
You know the question I'm asking.
It's like, yeah, they definitely had it scripted out, and he just wanted to make sure, because you could see his body language, and people do that when they're kind of making sure someone does them. They stand, they make their presence known. Don't forget to say this. And
right.
it's energy. Energy's like that. You can shift it how you want being there. And I believe that.
Yeah, no, I believe that too. Now, what do you think about this idea? I've heard some people say, and I have a feeling I know what you're going to say about this, but let's talk about it. Some people say that, that Jenn was a victim of coercive control under Stefan Stern's control, that she was coercively controlled by that bastard. What do you think about that?
Well, I always take into consideration what people say, and I love healthy discussions. I love people playing devil's advocate. So I take that in and I let it saturate for a minute, and I'm like, okay, but I really truly believe that Jenn held so many of the cards that she was a huge part of the puppet master in this case. She could tell Stefan when she wanted him to go home. She's the one that brought in the income, whether it was from disability, faking COVID, her dad paying for the condo. She held the cards. It was her daughter. They got most of the prescriptions. That's what I believe. I do not believe that she was coercive control by Stefan at all.
Yeah,
I did think about it, though.
I understand why people would think that, though, because coercive control certainly is a real thing. And, one of the cases bringing that to light recently is Micah Miller, who absolutely was coercively controlled by that bastard JP. But he was like, and JP is, and Stefan Stearns are both evil, but they're very different brands of evil. So it's like, just because one evil person exerts a certain kind of negative control in someone else's life doesn't mean that's what all kinds of evil do it, right? That's why sometimes these people are so hard to identify or so hard to keep up with, because they're coming at us from all kinds of angles, So I
agree.
Yeah. So I found that letter. I really want to read this that we were talking about earlier. That was found in a notebook. And let me just read it to y'all first. So, and this is from Grizzly True Crime. I just put this in like one of my little programs to make it bigger. So that's why it looks like this. So it says, my fluctuating moods, anxiety, and trauma-related symptoms affect my memory, concentration, focus, and energy levels. I also have severe trauma responses when I encounter all males. So this, if people have asked, did Maddie write this or did Jenn write this? First of all, I think that the sentence structure is just a little too it's too sophisticated for a 12-year-old. I think Jenn definitely wrote it, but I don't think it's because she's actually like journaling her feelings. I think this is her rehearsing what she's going to say to the disability office. What do you think?
Well, yeah, they have to write that as well. Yeah, when you go into the disability, you have to say what you've been doing and what's happening, how you're feeling. And I do believe she was doing that. That's why she crossed out the first one. And we did handwriting analysis between Maddie's potential writing and the picture, Stefan's writing, and hers. Obviously, it wasn't Stefan, but I do believe it was hers. It's a little too sophisticated for a 12-year-old, soon to be 13.
Right. Not that I'm saying that Jenn Soto by any means has sophisticated. And well, I mean, like we said earlier, when she wants to, she's not as dumb as she likes us to believe. So, I just have a hard time making any kind of blanket statement about Jenn Soto's intelligence, because she's a crafty little potato. I mean, as far as potatoes go anyway.
She's a rotten potato, and rotten potatoes still grow arms.
Yeah, right. Yeah, totally. So, somebody, let's see. I'm just searching for something here.
And I mean, Stefan kind of wrote similar when you looked at the other note. It's like he made sure it was very neat. There, you actually could see the erase marks on it that he wrote it, and he had rehearsed it with a pencil and then wrote over it for the love letter, what I call it.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice that until you pointed that out in your video that I watched earlier. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, he had to make it perfect. I really, truly believe that it's going to come out at some point, and that will be part of his defense. Yeah, I'm a sick mofo, but I was in love with Maddie.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have done that.
Now, somebody had mentioned in chat when the one time when we really see Jenn Soto shed tears, and I just want to play this for everybody, is when she realizes that tomorrow is actually her birthday, and she's feeling sorry for herself because, God, what a damn shitty birthday this is going to be. So let me just bring that into the stream, because I always think it's remarkable that this is the one time when we actually see her have a show of emotions. It's not related to her daughter being missing, but to her own selfish self. And we actually do have it on video. So let me just bring that in real quick. Okay, here we go.
To verify there's no stuff coming into socials, text, things like that.
That's fine.
Do you have the phone?
Yeah.
What they'll do is they'll plug it in, they'll do a forensic download of it so they have the data. That way they can go through it and say, we didn't receive things, we didn't receive things, here's the communications in and out, things like that, so we can verify that for you.
That's fine.
Do you have a password on it?
030288.
030288.
Oh my God. You freaking think.
Watch her hands too. Her hands, she keeps them weird. She keeps them like,
yeah.
I don't know what that is.
My birthday.
It's your birthday?
Yeah.
The whole time she's like,
yep.
Right.
She's a weird potato.
Listen. All right, surprise, surprise. I have to reboot now, so you can go ahead and react, but that's what real teens look like to Jenn Soto right there when she realizes it's her birthday.
Yep, it's her birthday, y'all, and I love you guys and your comments. I love the waterworks comment, Veronica, but it's funny because they did give her some crunchy ass paper. Yeah, Lucky, it looks like lobster claws to me in a New York accent. Lobster claws. It's like, I don't know what's wrong with her or if she's trying to hold herself to a certain standard in there. Some people say that she didn't want to close off her body language, so she didn't want to not to seem like she wasn't being open with it. But yes, it's first time that we see any emotion, anything, any crying, and it was about her. Yeah, not my daughter. There's a body. Wait, a body. I'm calling my daughter a body. I mean, I would just lose it right then and there.
Yeah,
I can't even. I don't even want to think about that. It makes me want to cry. So that being said,
I know.
It,
I mean,
yeah,
so many things. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, just when I talk about this case and, my daughter just turned 10, I get so many emotions and I can't understand where she's coming from. She victim blames so many times, puts Maddie down and just, it's gross. But why do you think that that was the first time?
She's faced with, even for us to think about that, like in this most remote sense, because we're not even in that own situation of our own babies, is like I've literally started crying in the middle of live streams before. Like your heart can't even take it. It's so hard to understand how this mother can be so callous. And I don't think that is like a typical like emotional pathology. I think that the behavior we see in Jenn Soto is an indicator of criminality. Absolutely, positively.
Why do you think, I'll ask you, you kind of know about this a bit. What do you, I mean, you know a lot more. I just react to stuff, right? And give my crazy opinions. But
love your opinions.
with your training, why is it that's the first time she cries? Like we didn't catch the before part or the after, but what is it that they told her in that? Was that the first time she found out that it was the
only reason she was crying there, that was, okay, let me give you a better context. That was 12 minutes into that, like, what was it? It was like a 2-hour something interview, the one where she's sitting on the couch. It was only 12 minutes into it. She hadn't seen the picture yet. She hadn't been told Maddie was dead yet. It was 12 minutes and 50 seconds into it when she started crying. The one Kevin, whatever his name is, a guy who's awesome, who mostly talks to her, explains they need to take her phone. They're going to do like a Cellbrite download, whatever. Then they'll give it back to her. In his absence, the other cop, who's, the kind of like listening detective in their pair there, says to her something about the date. And she goes, oh my God, I didn't even realize it's, whatever. And he says a date. And she goes, oh my God, that means tomorrow's my birthday. I didn't even realize it's going to be the worst birthday ever. And she starts weeping.
She does. That's the first time. I mean, we watched that on my channel. Like, we gotta watch. This is the first time Jenn Soto's had any emotion, none, and it was for herself.
So the interesting thing about the timing is that that's only 12 minutes into the interview. They still have so far to go. They still show her the picture of Stefan Stern's junk in Maddie's mouth. They still let her know that Maddie was seen on video surveillance footage in the front seat of Stefan's car, deceased. They use language many times strategically letting her know that they are not looking for an alive Maddie, but rather a dead body. Talking about her daughter. Now, they've already seen her cry when she realizes tomorrow's her birthday, but then she doesn't cry when they tell her all of those things or show her all of those things. They must be like, what the actual fuck is up with this?
And she recovers so quickly as well. Yeah. It's like, oh wait, what? Stefan did what?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't even get that. Now, keep in mind, it's not that bad, the sex stuff, right? I mean, that's not even really what bothers her.
Oh my God, I know.
So, I mean, she's never going to live that down because it's like, wait, I can understand him doing that. Do I have to press charges or can I think about it?
Oh my God, the fact that she even had to ask, I cannot believe she asked, do I have to decide now if I'm going to press charges or can I think about it? Dude, you just saw a picture of your daughter with your his boyfriend's junk in her mouth. You're considering whether or not you need to press charges? Are you kidding me?
It's because she already knew it. Whether she knew it because I just can't. I can't believe it. I can't believe that she didn't have intuition on it or thoughts about it. And she did. That's actually because she talked about Woody Allen's situation. So she did think about it. She did think about it.
Yeah, that was another thing. And I would love to be able to play more clips, but every time I play a freaking clip, I don't know what StreamYard can't sustain it tonight. So I can't play that. But you know, when she, you know, I think most of you know the thing that the quote about the Woody Allen is she's like, oh yeah, I used to tell Stefan Stern that like my biggest fear is that, you know, this would turn out like Woody Allen, you know, that like, you know, when Maddie essentially turned 18 years old, they would go run off together. Like, I mean, why that would even enter the mind of any woman, because we all think about Woody Allen all the time. He's like a really big figure in contemporary life, right? You know, why that would even enter the mind of somebody. I mean, the really only reason is to know about the weird situations with him, like that he ran away with his 18-year-old stepdaughter, you know. I mean,
and that's her greatest fear. Come on, you're sleeping with your daughter in the bed with Stefan, with her in the middle, and he's very open about, he comes out of her bathroom naked and they both watch him come out of the bathroom naked. He talks about his wood in the morning, which is fine. Every guy has that in the morning, but you put your daughter right in the middle between you two with that happening. I mean, there's just no way. Like for me, I can't believe it.
I mean, it's just so freaking disgusting. I mean, gross. Even and then when she's describing in that same interview when they're on the couch, like, what does everybody wear to bed at night? She's like, oh, a t-shirt and boxers, you know, with his morning wood, and oh my God, it just makes me want to throw up all over the place.
Well, when I think and you know, he didn't come out of the bathroom just once like that. You know, it was like they all hung out in her bedroom, right? The roommate said that they always were in the bedroom, and so she felt uncomfortable, the roommate, and she always kept her room open a little bit because it just made her feel so unnerved that all three of them were just in the bed. And so I'm sure that he came out many times, even though we know he didn't shower much. Every 21 or 22 days when he showered, he came out naked, like, hey ladies. And Jenn, nothing. I think she was jealous of Maddie, and that's where it went. Too. Yeah, I mean, how she treated her, how she victim shames her, how she talks bad about nothing like, oh, I love my daughter, she's so great, she's so smart. Nothing. And as a matter of fact, they wanted her money. They wanted to take her money. Stefan had taken it for what,
her Christmas money?
Yeah, her Christmas money. And Maddie was actually mad that night when she got home. The family said because she didn't get money, her family and friends, she didn't get money like she wanted from Jenn.
Oh my God. Yeah, just so Stefan could steal it, right? It's terrible.
Just so, well, her too. She needed her Botox, remember? She had to cancel it because I guess Maddie didn't get enough money.
That's right, to pay for her Botox, you know, her Botox appointment, which was the only, oh my God. Here, let me read a few comments. If you have any questions, put your questions up. So let's see. Not the mom. Okay, very good. Awesome. Welcome. How are you doing? Says, I think the original plan was the alligator area, but Stearns didn't do that. But Jenn had to stall and lie and honestly thought that it would work. Right. You know what? And this like really caught my eye because I think there's something to it, because something else that really stood out to me is when towards the end of that interview we were just watching, where she's sitting right in the smack dab in the middle of the couch and won't move her position for the entire time or show any emotion. She keeps bringing up areas that have alligators. Now, if my child were missing and I was thinking about areas that have alligators, read obviously that the alligators would dispose of the body. I mean, I wouldn't even be able to come up with that thought. So the fact that she even said that always struck me is very weird. So I think you might be onto something there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, she nailed it too about unless her body was out there in the trunk, unless she was strangled, unless she's on 192. I mean, bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, right.
You know
right.
that? Are you psychic?
Yeah, I know, right? Jenn, maybe you do have a lucrative career. Maybe it's as a psychic, you dumb potato.
Maybe.
So Veronica says, oh, and let's not forget, she said she was hyper vigilant and watched her like a hawk. Yeah, we don't believe that, not one bit. Lori, welcome. How are you doing? Lori says, I will never understand Jenn Soto saying, okay, he did the sex stuff, but that's fine, right? But I don't want to believe that he would do anything evil to her. I mean, really, how could she say that? You know, it's like, yeah, I mean, she as far as her being guilty of crime, since we have guilty of crime here, she told on herself. And that's something we haven't talked about is this false idea of immunity going around. She is not under immunity. What do you think about that?
Oh no, I've said that. So it was just one time for an hour and 4 minutes of everybody's life that she got a queen for the day, one time immunity. And it's only because they wanted to dig through it and see what they can get out of her when they thought, okay, you could say anything you want as long as you're truthful, go. And she did. And I'm sure she lied many times and they're going to go throughout it. It was that one time and that's it. For their benefit, obviously.
And I can't remember exactly what the legal procedure term was there, but we looked into that.
Derivative.
Yes, derivative immunity. I talked about that in a previous live stream. And when you look at derivative immunity in Florida, it spells it out that it's all very temporary. It has a beginning and an end. It's terminal, and it does not mean that you have blanket immunity across the board. So the fact that, like, you know, Nancy Grace and other people are reporting on that, shame on you guys.
Exactly. It's completely, false one-time deal. And only if you don't lie during that interview. I've seen like Carla Homolka went and got herself a sweet deal with the Ken and Barbie, the Ken and Barbie killings.
Yeah.
And they gave her immunity too. And then they found the tapes of her participating in the crimes. And guess what? She got arrested and put in. Immunity's gone, people. So that means nothing. Blanket, you're right, Kelly. It's derivative versus blanket immunity. And she did not get blanket immunity.
Yeah, a lot of people are getting that wrong. So Clara said she put Maddie in bed with them as soon as they were sleeping together. So freaking disgusting. LA says she said it was supposed to be a great week, right? When, you know, when she was like pondering, like, how could, you know, Stefan have, you know, been part of any of this? We had things planned, like we had activities planned. It was supposed to be a great week for my birthday. Yeah, okay. Like that's your
Stefan
concern
said
right
that
now?
too.
What's that?
Yeah. Stefan said that too when he talked to his parents. He's like, oh, we were getting along just great. It was supposed to be a great week. I got to, like, they're in this la la land together and it's so scripted. They're not even in the same room, in the same anything. And it's like, they just word for word. I don't know if they've been around each other way too long, but it's so odd.
It is definitely weird. Here's a good question. Now, what do you think about this, Jay? Why wouldn't the roommates report that Maddie was sleeping in bed with Stefan? What do we think about this?
Well, I know for a fact why this was. There was nothing to report then, and there was no abuse happening at that time. She lived there for a short period of time, and Juan gave her a sweet deal so she can get back on her feet.
Well, what about the current roommates though? Like,
now the current roommates, that's a whole different thing. I think they just block that shit out.
Yeah, probably. They probably just wanted to leave.
Yeah, I mean, one of them didn't speak English there. She was probably just in her own, you know, doing her thing, trying to hustle up her money. You know, when you go somewhere, you go to a hotel or a motel, whatever, you're not reporting your neighbors. Just saying.
Right. It was more like that. That's a good perspective. Yeah. So Black Knight says, she insinuated that she left Stefan, but I think he dumped Jennifer. Well, I don't think he was ever into her. Like I said, I think their relationship was a matter of each of them being a stepping stone towards one another's warped goals, you know?
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. You heard her. They asked her what happened. How did she meet Stefan? And she said they were hanging out for about a year and a half. And she said, hey, why don't we hook up? And he said, sure.
Right. I know.
Exactly
so romantic.
like
I know. She thinks so highly of herself.
If a guy wants you, he's going to let you know. You're going to know.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Jeez. Oh my gosh. Amanda Kay says, she argues how close she keeps Maddie and how aware she is all the time and can know about secret calls if there was any, yet this flew right by her. Yeah, everything seemed to fly right by her. Now, Veronica brings this up. Stefan Stern, what do you think he meant by this? So Stefan Stern said, I didn't start it. What does he mean by that, in your opinion?
Well, many people speculate that he's just saying that to put it on Jenn Soto, but I do hold weight to that. And I do think that he really truly thought he was in love with Maddie, and he probably did talk about, oh, when you turn 18, you know, let's buy the little baby parent coins. He had this fantasy life about him in all aspects. And so I think that could bring in the fact that maybe Jenn walked in on something, got jealous. She was over medicated and got strangled. And that could put Jenn in there too. So,
yeah, I think so too. I think that's definitely putting some blame on Jenn. It could be also that, you know, Jenn sent her to sleep with me. I just couldn't resist. I didn't start it. She sent her to bed with me. What was I supposed to do other than, you know, what I did? Ugh, gross.
One other thing. I watch the Mandu channel all the time now, and it's a bunch of parole hearings, mostly of convicted offenders, right? And what Stefan Stern said is what like 70% of those guys say. They think that those kids are coming on to them or started it. So they'll say like, oh, even though she was 6 years old, she was rubbing all up against me and like she knew what she wanted. I didn't realize that predators really thought in their mind that their victims were coming on to them even at 3 years old. So that could be it.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either. That's really freaking.
I do now.
Yeah.
Watch the Mandu channel and you'll see you'll get a real perspective on this.
Yeah. Wow. This is a good point. LA says, lucky I know she parked in the handicap spot. Yeah. So, you know, her disability, she obviously wasn't physically disabled. It really pisses me off when people who are not physically disabled park in the handicap spot for physically disabled, because people freaking need that spot. That's why it's there. But nope, she had her handicap little hanger on her car and she was fully, you know, she fancied herself to be fully handicapped, that little piece of potato crap.
The fried potato. I hope she gets fried.
Oh my God.
Yeah, good call. Just all around, y'all. Chat's popping tonight. Everyone's heated.
I know. I'm like looking. Let's see. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for all the participation. I'm trying to find some more. Well, I'm just going to read some random ones. Lucky says he wiggles out of his lies with his parents when they catch him. Absolutely, he does, and they just allow it, and then they believe him. Oh, okay. They say, I know. Yeah, I mean, they really didn't do a great job parenting, did they? I certainly don't blame them for what happened, but their parenting skills definitely need to be sharpened, in my opinion.
Although the mother did get him out of things, and she paid the roommates to not tell that he was filming their girlfriends in the bathroom. So
that's right. That does go a little further than just being passive. You're right. Yeah. Jenn only seemed to care about herself and Stefan, in my opinion. Oh, absolutely. I mean, when in that interview that we just played a little of where she's sitting on the couch, when, you know, and they show her the picture of Stefan's junk in Maddie's mouth, they tell her a million times in a million different ways their daughter is no longer alive. The way that she frames everything that she's concerned about is how it has to do with Stefan or her and Stefan. And it really, truly is just unbelievable to us normal human beings in any kind of range of normal in any way. It's just so messed up.
And that officer calls it out as clear as day. Like every time I say something to you, you're only worried about Stefan, but not your daughter. What's going on, lady? So it's not just us being weirdos and not liking Jenn Potato Soto.
Yeah, that's right. And then Veronica makes another point. You know, she talks to Stefan Stern's dad, and her main concern is get Stefan a lawyer just a short time after she'd been shown that horrible photo of the SA with Stefan and Maddie. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. No doubt about that. It's just crazy. It is crazy. So guys, I think I'm going to wrap up soon because just because my StreamYard has been acting up. I've got to figure out what's going on with that. So I had a few more things I wanted to play for you guys, but I can't play them. But do you have anything more that you want us? Oh my gosh, I can't wait till you react to the Stefan Stern's Follow the Money video. I just freaking can't wait. Please be sure to let me know when
I
that's
can't
happening.
either.
I've been dying to
I
see
will.
what you think of it.
I'll be fired up. I was going to watch it tonight. I was like, oh, I didn't see that. I missed it. But I want to do it with I want to do it with a crew because the way you dig into stuff is obviously different than the way I do. And you're very like meticulous with each piece. And so I'm going to be, I'll be fired up about it for sure.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait. And thank you. And thank you so much for coming on tonight. Sorry for the little technical difficulties, but you did great. Thanks for covering up all that. It's always so great to hear what you have to say, Jay. And I'm so glad that your channel is growing. And if any of you are not subscribed, go over and check out Guilty of Crime. I know that you will love it. It's one of my favorite true crime channels, has been ever since the moment that I found it. And I know I'm going to be going live again, most likely tomorrow night. I will post something by midday tomorrow, definitely tomorrow, Sunday, probably tomorrow night. And what do you have going on this weekend so people can look for that, Jay?
Nothing. I might just come over and check out your channel, but I think I'm going to just, my daughter's got Saturday school. She's excited about tomorrow. And, I'm always about the fam. So I don't know if I'm going to be doing anything, but you'll catch me surfing. You might catch me in chat.
Oh, nice. Awesome. Now, when do your lives during the week usually happen so people can find you?
Oh, 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 7 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday.
Awesome. Okay, so that's when you can find Jay. She usually takes off the weekends. See, with my job, I usually tend to be a little more active on the weekend. So Jay, you can find at 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. So definitely check that out and look for the Watch the Obsession live stream coming up probably tomorrow night. And again, Jay, thank you so much. Thank you to your crime crew for being over here. Thank you, subscribers, members, moderators, people just checking us out. We love and appreciate all of you. And it's been a great conversation. Thank you so much.
Mwah, thank you.
Mwah. All right. Love ya. Take care, girls. Great
love
having you on. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, y'all.